militia. Certain individuals of unidentified nature is now under complete control.
Hip-hop is not what it is today. It's the real. It's the
militia.
If heads only knew how I felt about the rap game, they relocate and change the name. I eradicate move fakers, roll with coke shakers, get dapped to mad money makers, shared cells with life takers, hats with rum shakers. I make moves so I'm an earthquaker. I've been known to instill fear, although the world may be round, we still trapped in the square. City life got me bugging and trite. Some die by the if it's alright. Like a game of spades, I'm Trump tight. Premier hit me with music to ensure that it thump right. And my flight will be taken solely at night, cause that's when the freaks come out, no doubt. And in the dark hours is when I was showered with the knowledge of my trade to get paid. Still I make moves like a snake in the grass, roundabout. I'll be keeping it down while you be out. Mad will never passed out. And if I'm caught up in the jam, I'm my way out. Lyrical infrared set to never miss ya. Big SHUG, Guru, Freddie Fox, the militia.
Everybody spitting it, the rhyme is hot. Cause it's Big SHUG, Guru, and Freddie the Fox. When Premier bring the beats, no it just don't stop. It's the militia. Everybody spitting it, the rhyme is hot. Cause it's Big SHUG, Guru, and Freddie the Fox. When Premier bring the beats, no it just don't stop. It's the militia.
Yo, I ain't one to succumb to no man, but to command and scoop up the troops when it's time to take a stand. Emphatically, deep strategies leave casualties. I creep gradually till everybody knows that I got more flows than Rosebud got. The anger inside had me trapped till I got geared up with raps to tear you up like for big stacks. Watch your back when I send them in. Caught you trembling, my name and face you're remembering. Take you to the map, keep that. You should keep back. My ill kid format will lay you flat like a doormat that I walk on. I meditate while you talk on and gossip, so I drop my hot. So get the up my block, kid. As nights turn to days go back to nights. We be speaking it right and keeping it tight up in the street life. Assessments I made before and during combat. I master my hunger, blow the spot when I bomb cats. One of us equals many of us. Disrespect one of us, you'll see plenty of us. Conflict is what I predict. You and your fellas is mad jealous, attempting to flit it. We cleverly stalk ya, your fam will miss ya. The war's on, that's why we formed a militia.
Everybody's spitting it, the rhyme is hot. Cause it's Big SHUG, Guru, and Freddie the Fox. When Premier bring the beats, no it just don't stop. It's the militia. You owe me for my rhymes, I come to collect. For you dope fiends in rap, I'm here to inject, check. My style is water, baby, spread it around. But when you don't flow it right, my sound, I get down. In 89, I spit the buck in the face of every MC that came into place. A scar you'll never erase. MCs are only recognized for their flows. I'm worldwide for the business, then I turned it up. You heard me spit it on jewels, that's how it goes. For all them faking ass and how I bust up they nose. And while your nose is dripping and draining blood, I'll be standing over you screaming, what? Feel my presence like I'm running a palm. Cause a stormy day is coming when you see me so calm. It's on, no more twin, they jam up my plays. Now it's twin, I'm in control of my game, you must respect me like the ref. You disrespect, you get the I turn you fake, it's on and off, like I'm the clapper. I rap so many, they should call me Jack the Rapper. I'm the illest doing this, dead or alive. Gloria Gaynor on you mother, I will survive. You can try to come at me, but do you want the kickback? You snap inside the cage of a pit and you get bit back. My war is so tight, my drama so ill. Beef with me, it hangs around like an unpaid bill. I push these lyrics through any MC and make it burn so that who be rhyming next will miss a turn. When you speak of who's the dopest MC, I don't come up. But when you speak of who's the loudest MC, I stay one up. What's up? I got strikes while you got strikes and bonus mics. Do what do best. Bite. You can't make up a law that I don't overrule, overthrow. Green bought bumpy this track so I can let you know. Before I slide, I'ma leave you this jewel. Even mechanics walk around with their tools. It's the militia.
What is going on, everybody? We got a little bit of a different show for you today, but we will still talk NBA. We might fit in a little bit of NBA Top Shot before Big Shug shows up. I was just talking to him a minute ago. He was in his car, so he's getting set up. He should be here soon. But I see some people in the chat. We got some people who like the nostalgia, who like Gangstarr, saying that Guru is easily a top MC of all time. TS Tablo, why can't Top Shot be this cool, right? Anyway, why don't we fit in a little bit of NBA Top Shot before we get Big Shug in here? Because then we'll talk a lot of NBA playoffs. We'll talk Celtics because Big Shug's a big Boston fan. And we'll talk a lot of different things. If you're aware of who Big Shug is, he is one of the co-founders of Gangstarr. And not only that, but he's also had a pretty successful acting career as well. He's been in some pretty big movies with some pretty big movie stars. People like Ben Affleck, he was on The Town, and he was with people like John Hamm and, of course, Larry David in a movie called Clear History that was on HBO when he was on that recent Netflix movie with Mark Wahlberg and Post Malone and several others as well. So I definitely want to hear from him some stories, and Big Shug knows how to tell stories. So hopefully there's no technical issues, and we'll get him back on here in a second because I was just talking to him. I swear, I'm not making that up. So anyway, if we want to talk about Top Shot for a second, let's see. What is noteworthy in the last week on Top Shot? I guess probably the most obvious thing is yesterday at halftime, they released packs that you could only get through the app, and people seem to like that. They sold out really quick. You had a 5% chance at a rare. I think what is probably most notable about those packs, which is pretty smart, and I saw someone write about it on Twitter, is I think it was Pac Mamba, actually. One of the biggest Top Shot fans on Twitter. Pac Mamba said something about everyone was talking about NBA Top Shot at halftime. And that's true. So that is kind of clever, the way that you can position those updates or those pack announcements when everyone is like on Twitter in the middle of a big NBA playoffs game that the Celtics really, really messed up. I mean, 46 points in the third quarter, whatever it was, 46 points, I think, and not a single timeout called. And by the way, did you know that Joe Mazzulla apparently watches The Town 4 times a week? Do you think he's autistic? That's a weird thing. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know any of you watching The Town 4 times a week before bed. It's a little strange. But let's see. Let's catch up with the chat while we wait for Shug here. Halftime pack drops. Tandyman brings the flavor. Would love to hear more about your DJ Vlad connection. All right. So my brother, that's how I know Big Shug. So my brother worked in the hip-hop industry. He still works in the hip-hop industry, actually, and he booked acts, and he booked people such as Big Shug. And he worked at this studio on Christie Street in New York City, which is like the jewelry. It was a jewelry building. And it's funny because actually when I watched that movie with Adam Sandler, when he plays like that jewelry dealer, it reminded me a lot of the office that my brother worked in. And he shared the office with a few other people. One of the people he shared office space was with DJ Vlad. So I didn't get to know DJ Vlad that closely or anything, but I saw him a couple times, and he was just talking about his website that was kind of up and coming. And I remember he had some sort of way to kind of fudge the numbers, because I don't know if you guys are aware of DJ Vlad, but he has a website and he posts all types of crazy stuff like world star type of content. And nowadays he does a lot of interview content. And he used to have some kind of mechanism where like one view somehow counted as like 5 views. So he'd have these videos and they'd all have like hundreds of thousands, millions of views. And that's kind of what I remember, Don't take my word on that. Don't sue me, DJ Vlad. I don't know. I could be misremembering, but that's something that I kind of remember from the past. Tap that app. Tap that app. Tandy's rugging you. Stan Loves is here. One of the biggest Top Shot simps and annoying shills. I think you're talking about Pac Mamba and Boston-based. Most notable was the blog they released a few hours beforehand mentioning that app pack drops and rookie revelations are the only chances you have for that draft day prize. Okay, I actually missed that. Stan, remind us your pick in the New York series. How are your Celtics doing? All right. My pick in the New York series was, I believe it was the Knicks, I imagine. That's why you're bringing it back up. My Celtics, they lost game 1. And that was a real stinker. To let the Heat the Heat look like like an all-star team, and really it's just Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler and just a superior coach. And like Gabe Vincent, since when is Gabe Vincent looking like he's Ray Allen on the Bucks? It's crazy to me. They're really playing incredibly well. Yeah, if you haven't cashed in your Jimmy Buckets redemption, so SF City Legend saying he hasn't cashed in, is he doing this right? Listen, it's a horse race, SF City Legend. So it's a horse race. If you think that Jimmy's gonna spike up because the Heat are gonna go up 2-0, which is definitely possible, then maybe you don't cash it in. And if you think the Heat are gonna beat the Celtics, then you don't cash it in. If you think the Heat are gonna lose to the Celtics, then you cash it in. That's pretty much how this works. Perfect Serial watches Tandy 4 times. Now we're talking. Joe Mazzulla needs to be watching Tandy Time 4 times per week. Jump Shoot says that's why Tandy could spit fire for the pack drop packs. Makes so much sense. Uncut Gems is the name of that movie. Thank you. Parallels have been delivered. So everybody, your fears are gone. You're going to get your parallels. Hopefully you get some of those rippled for your pleasure, some liquid explosions. Those are from those packs that were missing the MGLEs and the parallels. We got an explanation about the missing MGLEs, which are now back there. To the House got Nicholas Batum and Javon Carter, and he wants to send them back. Listen to the House. You got to understand that when you take a gamble and you put some money down on a pack and you see what your odds are, if it's 5% of the time you're going to get a rare, that means basically 5% of the time you're going to be happy. 95% of the time you're not going to be happy. That's how this works. All right, so let's see. Where's SHUG? I'm gonna text him again. Yeah. Listen, this stream wouldn't be the stream if we didn't have plenty of technical difficulties. SHUG was in the car. We were chatting a little bit, telling some funny stories that he had about when he used to go on tour. And my brother, he would travel with my brother and these other rappers that my brother would manage. And there were some stories there. Yeah, that's about it. But I'm just going to hang out with you guys until SHUG shows up, because I want to save the NBA playoffs chat with SHUG. I think he's going to have some hot takes, but hopefully he doesn't take too much longer. Let's see what else we got here. So Jump Shoot says, but the packs sell out before JBB spreadsheets. Come on now. Naked XYZ. That's right. We love Naked XYZ. Did you know, though, that Naked XYZ doesn't show up anymore because you can do something in the comments where you only allow subscribed people. So unless Naked XYZ subscribes to the stream, they can't comment. Grant Williams, that was a big head scratcher. Boston Bay says he wasn't injured. I did just see footage of Grant Williams running on a treadmill, so I'd like to believe that that means that he is not injured. I don't know what Joe Mazzulla was thinking playing Peyton Pritchard so much. Like Peyton Pritchard didn't see any run the previous series other than maybe garbage time minutes. And this time he's in there almost right away. Whereas Grant Williams can play some defense. And if there's one thing that we learned from last game when the Celtics let up 46 points in a quarter, is that they might be needing a little bit of defensive assistance. And Grant Williams is a great defender. He can knock down 3-point shots. I don't know why he wasn't in there. I don't know why Jason Tatum was only getting the ball like at the end of the game. And the 2 straight travel calls on Jason Tatum in crunch time, that was a nice swift kick to the nuts. But if you expected anything else after watching how the Celtics have been playing in this entire playoffs, as much as I wanted to believe that they were going to show up in game 1 and just smoke them, the line was -8. Vegas had them winning by 8 points. Everybody thought the dumb money was on Heat +8 because it was so obvious. I did too. When I saw that -8 line, I thought that's way too much. How can they be favored by 8 points? The Heat keep surprising people. They keep playing really well. How could they be underdogs by 8 points? And lo and behold, that was a poor line. I wonder what the line's going to be on next game. I think that Vegas is going to think that the Celtics are going to bounce back. I mean, I think they will, but the Celtics seem to play better when their backs are against the wall. I don't know why they do this to themselves, because if and when they beat the Heat, and of course we believe that they're going to beat the Heat on this podcast, on this stream, if and when that occurs, they're going to be all bruised up and beaten up like they were versus the Warriors last year. So I don't know why they do this to themselves. I really don't know. All right. Tony says, need your brother as a guest. Boston Base has never seen a travel call. He's more upset about YouTube TV than the loss. That's what I saw on Twitter. See, I didn't see it on YouTube TV. I watch it with my morning breakfast, of course, because I'm not staying up until 4 a.m. And then just to see the Celtics lose, I mean, that would just be like the worst way to go to sleep. And then you got like a toddler waking you up 2 hours later. No, sir, can't do it. But in the morning, I was watching it and I was looking on Twitter, and apparently people were like missing part of the game because they were airing these Little Mermaid commercials over and over again on YouTube TV. Bad form, YouTube TV, bad form. So 3-ball, Tandy always cool under pressure. Celtics will be too. That's what I think. Thank you, 3-ball. And that's 3-ball of Connected and Collected, I believe. He's also got his own show that if you guys want to check out, where they go over their favorite moments on the platform, and him and Treaticus interview some people. So you guys can check out that podcast as well. And Boston Bay says it was a nightmare. He had to scramble to a Twitter TNT stream. 3-ball thinks the Heat are getting 9 points tomorrow. Is that confirmed, 3-ball? These Vegas odds makers are making these lines way too high for this series. I don't think this makes any sense. I think the Celtics win game 2, but I don't think they're going to win by 10 points. I wouldn't be shocked at all if it's like a 3-pointer that's the difference maker. Dr. Dunks, quit fudge shaming. All right, I'm going to check on SHUG. Hopefully didn't drop his phone down a manhole cover, through a manhole or something, that would be bad. We'll just keep killing time. We'll just keep killing time. Let's read some updates on Twitter. Pack drop collector update. That's about the parallels that got delivered. What else is going on, guys? What else is going on? All right, the NBA is launching NBA Con, a 3-day event in Las Vegas, July 7th to 9th. That will bring together the fashion, music, cuisine, art, and technology surrounding the NBA. Interesting. So I take it that must be during Summer League action. The NBA Con. What do you think? Can NBA Top Shot be part of that? Probably not. When is the Top Shot Con? The Comic Con of NBA Top Shot, right? We were waiting for that, weren't we? It looks like NBA's doing it, but Top Shot could hitch their wagon to that. Why not? The NBA could also feature their digital offerings like All World and Top Shot and So Rare NBA. That would make sense to me. Let's see what else you guys got. Yeah, so it's July 7th. I can share share it if you want to see it. July 7th to 9th. So if you guys are in Vegas, you can go to NBA Con. This is from Alicia Jessup of Ruling Sports. Let's see what else. Do we dress up as NBA players at the NBA Top Shot Comic Con? Yes, I believe you do. Please give us a kiosk. We want kiosks. Torque says 3-ball. Take an alternative line of -15. It'll play out like 4-1. Celtics are going to win the game 2 by 1,000,000. You know what? I actually don't hate that play. It's like either go conservative or go crazy. I think that's a good call. If the Celtics, they could win by 3 or they could win by 25. So if you want to take 4-1 odds, then why not? Dr. Dunks wants Top Shot kissing booths. SF City Legends is going to be there. So maybe SF City Legends will go to NBA Con. Stan Love says, hashtag Roham. We got to give him what he wants.
Roham.
Collecting and collecting. There's Treaticus, I think. He says they booked him to open for Nickelback. I think he means Nickelback. All right, so looks like SHUG is there. although he looks sideways. Hopefully when I bring him in, he's not sideways. Shug, try shifting your, there you go. Now you're good. So just try to get that stable. When that's looking stable, I'll get you in here. All right. So we got Big Shug in the back, but he looks like he's lying on his side though. I mean, I guess we could do like a nap time discussion. I'll get on my side like this. We can just pretend we're having a sleepover. All right, I think he's set up. Oh, nope. This is gonna be tough. You know, when you got your phone, and then if it's plugged in too, if he doesn't have something to rest that on. But yeah, Boston, you can ask Shug a question. All right, so I'm waiting until that's nice and stable for at least a couple seconds. All right, I think it is. He's just trying to adjust it so we can like see his face. All right, there you go. I think we're good. All right, so why don't we bring in Shug, Big Shug of the legendary Gangstarr Foundation. You guys are all here coming every week for NBA Top Shot, and you're like, this doesn't make much sense, but that's okay. So let's bring him in. I guess we'll give him like a Kawhi laugh because that's just what we're going to use. Here we go.
Shit. Oh shit. I see what it said for me to tap to hair. So I don't know.
All right, Big Shug's here. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I know it goes. So I know what it is. But yo, I'm good, man. You know, I'm glad to be here, man, with you. You know what I'm saying? Try to make this happen. How are you, man?
I'm good. So I guess let's just jump right into it, Shug. Like, because there's so many things I can ask you. You seem like a man of a million talents. I wonder if when you were younger, you could have predicted that you're going to be like all over the map like this. What happened? How did you start? That's a good way to start. Like, how did you begin as a dude who wanted to like do rap and hip hop, and now all of a sudden you're acting, and you know you're side by side with legends like Larry David? How does that happen?
Excuse me one sec. That water just went a little bit stupid. So when I was a kid, growing up, when I did, you know, everybody dreams, you know what I mean? It was a lot more simplified as far as technology. So, you know, if you watch TV, everybody watched the same thing. Radio was basically the same. This was before cable, early microwave days, right? All this shit, you know what I mean? Before cell phones. So a lot of times from that era, I feel like people had to be more active and more creative. You know what I mean? So, so you had to manifest, I would probably say, your dreams, or there were so many things that you could come up with, you know, but some were going to push forward and some weren't. With me, when I was a kid, you were always involved in, you know, writing and plays and things like that. But I went to a school called Alma School of Fine Arts, which you had to take everything from ballet to, you know, instruments. I played the clarinet. I took ballet. You had to from like 9 to 13 till you could pick your own classes. You hated that ballet part, trust me, right?
You were standing on the top of your toes like that?
I mean, we didn't get to that part, but you know, a lot of the other activities and you know, plies and people know about it and stuff like that, and pointing and stuff, you know what I mean? But it still was a fact. I think if anything, man, it was discipline. You know what I mean? So my mother always had us involved in things. There I took drama, played the clarinet, dance, African dance, drums, African drums, and art was sculpturing and different things. So you would do these things, and when you would have performances, you would perform in front of these huge, like Boston. I mean, this is legendary stuff. So you're performing for like the Heinz Auditorium and places like that. And they used to do a thing called Celebrate, where everybody it'd be packed with all the dignitaries from, you know, around and even further. And they would teach you, I mean, that put me in front of a crowd at a young age to do these things. I was on TV. They had several children's shows when I was coming up. Like there was a show called Major Mud. There was a show called Boomtown. There was a show called Jabberwocky. right? These were all on TV. So I was in all these shows. Zoom was one. You know what I mean? So this exposure was like really early. I just
Okay.
happened to be one as years went by to say, man, think that I could do this stuff. I started writing poetry at 15. No, excuse me. I started writing poetry younger than that. But this brother, Justice, came from New York when I was about 15. And he was telling me, like, yo, you could rap, whatever. And I was like, he said, just put them rhymes together and flow and all. So he showed me a little bit of that. So that at 15 is when I really started rapping, and you fast forward, I did a lot of things, good times, bad times, but I always had music in the ability. And then when I started the group with Guru and I started Gangstarr. So he was a grown man already. We were both grown, but he learned to rap as a grown man. I taught him, not showed him, encouraged him, and I taught him. So therefore I was like, this is my boy. I'm gonna teach him how to, do this rap thing, and then we'll have a group, which we did. We became Gangstarr. We came up with the name together. We came up with the symbol, the star and the chain in the star, right way back then, where I'm telling him, dictating what he's supposed to draw, because he was like an artist like that. And he would draw things till we got that, what you see today. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, we good, and this was way back then. So, and then unfortunately, because, my life and things I was going through and streets, drugs, and different things, I was incarcerated. So that separated us. When we were separated, he went to New York. And then eventually, I guess, he went through his plight and he met Premier. And him and Premier, went on. He got together as Gangstarr, continued. Guru was already Gangstarr still. And then he, with a couple of guys, but he continued with Premier, and then, took it to the next level. I was released in 90. I could reconnected with Guru in 91, and then the rest is history, So that basically, in a nutshell, that was that path,
Yeah. So we got some questions around your music career actually over here already. Here's an interesting one. Do you have any rituals or routines that helps you get into the right mindset before a performance or recording session?
Nah, well, they're different. So when I was younger and we would record, and when I mean that, I mean like with Guru, and when it became professionally recording, there was a lot of just smoking and drinking. You know what I mean? And so a lot of my early works, as far as if anyone knows, is Crush and FALA on Hard to Earn, Gangstarr album, Militia, right? All the early songs I did, excuse me, were freestyle. And when I say freestyle, I don't mean like how they say now, where they got something written in there, and they're spitting it for people. My freestyles were made right then while I'm doing whatever. You know what I mean? So I still can do that now, but I mean, that's all I knew. I didn't know about writing to the music. I was more comfortable just like spitting, you know what I mean? Even when people would say shit back then, like, hey, so you got something for this? I'd be like, yeah, but I really didn't. You know what I mean? I just could do it. So if you listen to Crush, Official, Do It Pays You, Militia, and there's a few more, those were all me, made on the spot, like freestyle. You know what I mean? So there was no ritual then. Just what I really thought was crazy, because we would record, and I would watch, cats would hang out there at D&D and just smoke and drink. Like beers, that's 40s were big, and so we'd be drinking 40s and smoking, and sometimes don't even get shit done. And then when you would record, then we record, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, a lot of money's being wasted around here. So in a nutshell, there was no ritual there. And writing, when I was younger, writing, a lot of times when I did start, after Militia, I got so much attention that I was like, damn, you got to write this stuff, because you're going to probably, get an album deal or sit, you know what I mean? So I was like, well, you got to be able to write, which, I learned that. So I was like, okay, I'll start writing. So then when it became like that, I would get by myself and write, you know what I mean? And dig deep into it. Like, I would say 90% of the things I spit about and stuff are, sorry, something just bled across the screen.
I heard the buzz.
Yeah. But, So when I would just write, be by myself, smoke a little bit, but now it's way different. Now it's like when I'm going to perform, and it's always been this way. I usually get a Long Island iced tea and some waters. I'll sip that shit through the show. You know what I mean? Get my nice buzz, feeling good. I don't smoke before shows because I don't know. I just really never did that. So that is. I will get a Long Island. Sometimes a shot of cognac, and then rock. But I'm drinking waters and sipping this Long Island like usually through the show. You know what I mean? Maybe I might get another one, but usually that one is strong enough. I'm good. And recording is so business-like now, even more so, where I get asked to do features a lot. So therefore, I'm going say the Tandy man has Tandy studio time. I'm gonna go over there, and I'll be most likely I'm done like shit within a half hour, whatever it is, because I come in like that now. Sometimes it's already written because I'm the type of dude when I get this music sent to me, I don't gotta be like, yo, I'm gonna wait till I get the studio, man, try to vibe out. I do it as soon. It could be on the phone, it could be anywhere. As soon as I hear it, I'm like, oh shit, and I'll just write it. You see what I'm saying? So there's not really rituals. It's just I don't know. It's just a part of me. So now it's just like we rock. I got a show coming up. When it's showtime, I have a little sip before, drink some waters, man, whatever, and then get out there and tear that up. You know what I mean?
All right. And some people are talking about the work that you did with SHUG. I mean, with Premier. I know that you and Primo do a lot of work together. Are you still making new music?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of work with SHUG too. But
yeah, that's when you talk to yourself at night.
So now we, of course, we actually have a Guru tribute performance coming up June 10th in Boston. Actually, Nubian Square, which is used to be Dudley Station for those who know or don't know. But that whole area is called Nubian Square now, and it's like a block party, and we'll be performing there along with Edo G and this group Planet Patrol. KRS-One was there last year, so it ought to be good. But yeah, we're actually in work of we've done not countless songs, all my albums he's been on, but we're doing a project right now as we speak that's just produced solely by Premier. So we're probably 9-10 songs deep right now, so that's something you'll be hearing like sooner than later. So yeah, we're always working, and being not only that we're people that work together like that, we're friends for real, like past the music or anything, with deal with our lifetime issues and daily stuff and whatever, we chop it up a bit. Like that's my man 100%. Love that brother. So we're on that level of it too, you know what I mean? So yeah, we still say the least, we work together, you know what I mean? So still,
what something that I was curious about is that since you're so enveloped in hip hop, even though I know you also like to sing as well, but when you're doing when you're listening to your own music and you're just in the car, are you listening to hip hop, or are you listening to something completely unexpected?
I listen to hip hop. I listen to R&B, soul music, older soul music, new music, but a lot of the soul from the 70s and 60s and stuff like that. Sometimes I just play instrumentals and I'll sing, or I'll rap. You know what I mean? I do that by myself. Sometimes there's no music and I'm doing that. You know what I mean? So that's what it consists of, me driving in the vehicle.
So that's when SHUG is collabing with SHUG.
Oh yeah, 100%. And there's always rhymes in my head that I make. I make verses and maintain them in my head. So when some of these things come across the table and it fits, then I'll go in with that. You know what I mean? A lot of times people are surprised how quick the turnaround is. That's because a lot of stuff is in my head. Whereas okay, this goes with that, so I'm going to do it. If I got to fresh, I will. But right now, I probably keep about 3 or 4 verses in my head. You know what I mean? So, which is good. I find that to work good for me for years. So yeah.
What do you think about all these young new rappers? Everyone's called Lil. When I was younger, the only Lil was Little Debbie when you would eat those little cakes.
Right.
Now it's Little Nutsack and Little. I don't even know who's out there these days. It's Little everything. I don't know. What do you think about these little Little Peckerwood or whatever these dudes are named.
I feel it's a little annoying, but now on the real, so I feel that it was even more so, maybe mid to late '90s, even more so. So then you got knew about it because you had the little Bow Wow, little Mo,
That's true.
little Kim, you know what I mean, little Scrappy, little Flip, you know what I mean. So there was a lot of that already. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I've always been big. So when I across these little people, I'll be like, oh, okay, this is what it is. So be it. And then even some of the little people will call themselves big. You know what I'm saying? Like little Big Sean. You know what I mean? Smaller people. I'm like, okay. So I never really took too much to it because it can stay that way for a little while. No pun intended. Yeah. But eventually you got to drop the little, or it's going to work for you because you're 4 foot, whatever. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. That's their thing. So they can have it. You know what I'm saying?
I saw a clip actually of Little Kim. You mentioned Little Kim.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks like a little alien or something. Like she looks wild. What's going on there? Like, see, at least you still look like you used to look. But what is it about these ladies that they think they look 30 when they really just look like some androgynous robot alien?
I mean, as we can physically see, you know what I'm saying, that a lot of women are getting these facelifts and different enhancements or different changes to their face, which obviously for her and then with bodies, everybody's getting everything, man, from horse booty BBLs to what I mean, to fucking extra breasts, and you don't know what's real fake, man. It's the world we live in, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It is a little different, and it's like, you know what? It's like there's nothing we can do about it. That's what she wanted to do. So it's like, okay, but I still remember at the beginning, because I've known them, like everyone else visually for many years, because like Big was at the corner, hang out with the corner St. James, where Guru and Premier lived when I first started going to New York. So I used to see him several times, and I'm sure in the early days I've come across her as well. So to watch the changes, I mean, it was like watching Michael Jackson. It was watching like Kenny Rogers. It was watching. It was like watching Joan Rivers. I mean, there's so many people whose face got tighter and tighter. So it is what it is, man. I think she's still dope, though. Her musically, man, I still fuck with her like that. So I give it to her on that level. Anything else? She has a daughter too, so. She's a mother now, whatever, the kid might ask you down the road, like, I look more like dad than you. I mean, who knows? I often wonder how people explain stuff like that because you change so much. But, like I said, that's another situation, man.
Yeah, that's you blame Instagram filters, I think. But anyway, so let's talk a little bit of NBA. So most of my audience, they're very interested in like sports, gambling, crypto, and the product that brings us all together is a product called NBA Top Shot. It's basically like collecting NBA trading cards when you were a kid, but it's basically online. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard it? First of all, have you ever heard of NBA Top Shot? And secondly,
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever like look at it at all, or was it just not really interesting to you, or what do you think?
Yeah, it probably didn't interest me, to be honest, but you know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at nothing. So
Are you a collector? Did you ever collect like trading cards or anything like that?
One thing I did as far as what I always thought about shit like that, but what I always did, I was a reader, you know what I mean? So in those days, like earlier, you had to read about all these athletes and different stuff. And so I read everything, man. Early books about a lot of players. Like I read the book on a lot of players. You know what I mean? Along with, some other, about the Kennedys, about the Johnson & Johnson developers, Ray Kroc, the McDonald's. I read a lot of books, but as far as sports, basketball, I mean, I've always been a sports dude anyway. So there's many shits that I read about, you know what I mean? So as far as knowing my information about basketball and all that in the earlier times of me knowing was reading. You know what I mean? So that's how I acquired all the knowledge, and as I do now, I still read stuff, but I see a lot of stuff too. So
So what were you seeing yesterday when the Celtics let the Heat score 46 points in the third quarter and Joe Mazzulla didn't call a timeout?
Well, what we're seeing is more of what we've seen. What I mean is, like, this has been a common thread for the year. The thing it's almost crazy because of what I've seen. It doesn't worry me so much because I just feel that when you get down to it, the Celtics are a better team, man. You know what I mean? They gotta click, they gotta push. But people have been complaining about them, like, under this whole Mazzulla thing, him coaching. They've been complaining, but they still are in the Eastern Finals.
Yep.
Finals, they're still there, right? And then, before it's all said and done, they still could end up being in the championship and winning. Who knows? But as far as strategy, people see stuff, they see these games, and we see stuff that maybe he should have did this or he should have did that. But I mean, still to be one of the more successful teams in the league anyway, in any league. So that's already an accomplishment. You see what I'm saying? We want him to push the right buttons right now. Some shit is goofy. But that could be first time around. The dude's a young dude. But if they didn't think that he was the one to be in that position, there's a lot of others who could have been. You know what I mean? Because all they complain about is that no timeout shit with him, really. I mean, and Marcus Smart. And, Marcus Smart just said some crazy shit recently, too, about fans, they don't know about Joe Mazzulla, and rightfully so. He said that. So that's crazy because I never heard there's another one. So people talk about this other podcast, but sorry, man. But as far as, like, first of all, we could have Doc Rivers as the coach, which we don't anymore. And Doc, man, is a good regular coach, but we see his track record. We could have Mike Bootyhauser. I mean, no, the Buddinghauser that was coaching for the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? I like to call him Bootyhauser because that's it. But anyway, right? And look at him. He's out of there. I mean, Dwayne Casey a couple of years ago wins the championship with the Toronto Raptors. He's out of there. I mean, you know what I mean? So let's roll with Joe. Hopefully the right buttons are pushed. But at the end of the day, for me, players play, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what the fuck to do. You know what I mean? Excuse me. I don't know if this is a family show, but
Go ahead.
you know what to do. So that's how I am as a person who played high school, college football, always competed with basketball and other sports. Like, I know at the end of the day, man, and I coach kids, AAU and all that shit. I know that, like, they're the ones who got to play. The players got to play. And they're grown men now that are the best players in the world. You know what I mean? So y'all can figure it out. Like, you see the coach talking sometimes. Now think about it, man. You'll see these guys that are paid millions of dollars to play ball, and they're on the squad, and they're in a timeout. The coach is sitting on the chair. This coach, other coaches, we got to keep playing hard. We got to keep going. We can't let up. You got to play defense. We got to put pressure on them. Listen, if you look at half of those motherfuckers and tell me that they're listening, or you can see them, who's listening attentively. I seen guys doing like this, right? Guys not even looking or whatever, because that's not what's like motivating these guys. You got to have it in you, man. He can say a few things to make you be like, okay, but like, yo, you might be there for a 3-year contract or 5 years. This dude could be out of there tomorrow. You know what I mean? So they know it's about them. So, I mean, I hope he pushes the right buttons, pulls the right cards as we move forward. And I'd like to see them close this out. And I still think they can in 6. But Jimmy Butler, man's a dog, man. Jimmy Butler's going to come bang around. If people forget, they got in behind the playing game. You know what I mean? So it's like them and the Lakers. They ain't even supposed to be there. They had to play a game to get in there. If they lost that one game, we wouldn't even be talking about none of them. And now they're both on the brink. You see what I'm saying? So it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, these teams, they hit streaks at the right time and they just look incredible all of a sudden. Do you think that if Ime Udoka wasn't horny, we would have won that game last night?
You might have won a few more games because I feel like they had more respect for him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you, I've never heard anybody ever since I've been watching basketball, and I'm talking about when the last days of Will Chamberlain and Bob McAdoo and them dudes. Like since I've been watching, I never heard no coach come out and say, I mean, a player say, "Well, hey, you know, so and so about the coach," and rightfully so. You know, that shit was like he would have been saying that at Udoka. That we know that we didn't hear that. You see,
Yeah.
and then there was a bad spot for Marcus Smart last year when Udoka was the coach, and he sat him down. It was a fourth quarter. He wasn't even playing. So I'm saying Missoula won't do nothing like that, or he hasn't. You see what I'm saying? Because too many shots, whatever was going on. You know what I mean? So it's possible. Yeah, we probably would have had a different kind of team. You know what I mean? Because it's different. Joe Missoula still has that little kid thing with him, meaning that like I think they give him the respect because he's the coach, it's the pros. But then the other part is like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Him and Al Horford are probably the same age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
did you hear that story that he watches The Town 4 times a week to go to sleep?
Oh yeah, when I heard that, because I spoke to these guys on 98.5 in the daytime. Scott Zolak used to quarterback the Patriots, and I had another guy with him, and I called in, because to chop it up, and they were talking about that because they didn't know I was in. Well, as soon as I spoke, it was crazy because Scott Zolak was like, "Oh, I know exactly who you are." Like in the part and this was for the Black Mass movie, but I was explaining it. Then I explained I was in that, and they were like, I said I heard that he watches a lot, so I'm sure he's aware of the character or what have you. So I did know that, but it was funny talking with them about the shit, when I was on the radio. So shout out to them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe you should like send a message to Missoula. You know how people do those cameos? You send them a cameo. You're like, yeah, this is Big Shug from the movie that you watch 4 times a week. And I just want to say, keep doing your thing and play hard and pressure the other team.
Yeah, right. Run. You gotta run. You gotta jump. Run, jump, and then run, jump some more. Yeah. There's no winner unless there's a winner. You know what I mean?
But you were a coach yourself, and one of the funniest things I thought was when I did a little reading up on you to just get updated, and your Wikipedia entry, it's like all the predictable things. It's about like your acting and your music, and then out of nowhere, it's the story about when you were a coach from like I think it was said in 2012 and 2014 you led the Braintree Youth to 2 championships. In 2013, you were defeated in the semifinal, which led you to say, "Damn, these kids sign up to hoop, but they can't hoop. They damn bad." And then all the players and parents got all butthurt, and that was like a huge controversy. That was big enough to make it into your Wikipedia page.
Well, so let's give you this tidbit. First of all, that whole dialogue is produce, and I call it produce because the pot of produce that it is corn. You understand? So all of that is fabricated, except for me coaching. You know what I mean? My son had told me, one of my sons told me that I guess some people could take control like that and into those stories. So first of all, me as a coach, man, some real shit, bro. I would never, like, I coached some youth leagues and then the town leagues. And then if anybody knows about the town leagues, that's when every kid that they pick is on your team. And some of them have no clue about basketball. And somehow you were able to win. Like somehow I was able to be successful at all my levels. And I ain't gonna front. Every town I went to, I was always the hated coach. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that, man, I could be a little bit of race to it or whatever, man, some real shit, or just they wasn't used to it. I don't know. Because sometimes when I come to the coach, I'm coaching kids, man. I come in there with the fur coat on and, jewelry, whatever, and I'm playing loud music and whatever. So that was all like stigmas with them, but it wasn't really what it was about. Now, mind you, as we went down the road, I became everybody's favorite. You see what I'm saying? kids and everything, but we were successful. We were winning all the time. So in that, right, that story was all fake. We won a championship. Now check this out. The funny thing about it, I won a few championships on different levels with teams, but that was a youth league, you know what I mean, with town kids. But my kid was the beach, you know what I'm saying? Tremaine, shout out to him. He was tall, could dribble, do everything, shoot, score, and drop it. And them games, they'd be mad because it's the third grade and the kid is dropping 40. You know what I mean? Like and passing the ball and everything and all kinds of stuff. So they wasn't too keen with that, even as he moved up. But I mean, all I was trying to do, man, was like make kids, you know, like let kids have a good time. I just happened to have a kid that was like dominant too. So there was a lot of things, man, that like they used to really do behind the scenes, just behind some kid shit. So we won the first championship, 6th, 7th grade championship, whatever. The gym was crowded. The gym used to be crowded for this game, and these shits were town games. Like, this shit would never be that, but I know it was because it was us. You know what I mean? And you know, they always looking for us to lose. And so the next time we was in the championship game, that shit was crowded again. Right? You know what I mean? And then we lost that one due to people like so you get like real quick, you get 10 kids on the team, right? So there's like maybe three kids who didn't show up, right? All year. One kid was injured. The others don't show up all year. So that shortens your bench. So now kids who had an even better, you know, my son was the main one, they play more. So it wasn't going to be it wasn't going to be a challenge. We're running through shit. Like that kid was averaging like 25 a game or something at the time. So you actually had kids and parents, dude. Kids and parents being like, I tell the kids to stay home, right? So we can win every game. This shit was crazy, man. Like, that's why when I hear a story like that, I'm like, they'd be like, oh, he tells kids to stay home. And then when I would say something, which I'm not a coach that argues with ref, and these refs would be kids, you know, teenagers from high school. And then I say something and the call might get changed or corrected. You had parents yelling out, oh, he's scared of you. That's why he changed it. I said, scared of me for what? You see what I'm saying? So when I read that, I said, that was probably one of them damn parents. Let's put this goofy ass story in there, right? But we had some of the greatest, I heard we had like the greatest championship, the team and all of that. Like, you know, and this has been a long history over here. So, you know, shout out to my son Tremaine and Mike Chen and the Doherty brothers that were on that team, Brian Conley or whatever, Brian Conley, because they went undefeated the whole. We had dudes people calling up so I could get my game on the next schedule. We won a game by 1 point. Dude calls me up and says, hey, on the bracket, next week you're playing so-and-so. Hopefully you win by more than a point.
Are you just betting on you?
We talk about we won. Right, you know what I mean? So it was silly shit like that I'm telling you, man. And then they write that story like that. One day, I guess we'll get it corrected. But until then, I've heard that several times.
That's pretty funny.
Just think about the dialogue. Even you talking to me right now, I let Shug say, Coach Shug say, these kids are damn bad. Yeah.
I feel like you would have come out a little harder. Actually, I feel like you would have said something worse than that.
Oh, these kids fucking suck.
Exactly.
And I would have said that in my own circle. I would have said that shit like around kids. Like, come on, man. It was so hilarious. But needless to say, I got a little long-winded with that. But that shit is untrue. But we did win a championship, and we were in a second place in the next championship. You know what I mean?
So you were a coach. How would you motivate your players? Because obviously you're like you said, a lot of the stuff, especially in the NBA, coaches, nothing they say really holds much water unless you're maybe, you know, Greg Popovich and you're talking to a young player. But most of the time, these dudes are like making $200 million a year with all their Nike deals and stuff, and they're like, yeah, you're nothing to me. So how would you motivate these kids in this situation?
Well, see, motivation is at different levels. You know, I coach girls that were little kids, young girls, if anybody knows about that, where half of the team was scared of the ball. You know what I'm saying? But before the season was over, we were winning games. We were competing and doing different things. right? But that's a different motivation and a different challenge. Then I've coached kids that were high school age, middle school age, elementary age, boys, where you had to teach that, because one of the things that parents like to do when kids, when the kids are little and playing after basketball game, hey, did you guys win? Oh, how many points you score? This kid might not be able to score shit. You understand what I'm saying? So I just would show kids how important it was to play defense, rebound, be tough about the game or whatever, play the game. So that's what made them like it, because now they like, yo, see that? You got that steal, whatever. So that was motivating at that level. Excuse me. When kids got older, sometimes you just had to give it to them. You felt the post, but then sometimes you had to give it to them. I remember coaching a game in a high school summer league, and somebody took one of my players to the hoop like 3 times in a row. You know what I mean? And then I was like, yo, get him out. So I send someone in, and he comes out. He said, what do you take me out for, coach? Because in the summer league, they're going to talk more. In high school, kids ain't saying shit, right? In the summer league, somebody's going to say something. So he says, what'd you take me out for? I said, because you're getting cooked. And then he was hyping, and she's like, how am I getting cooked? Right? I said, dude, I look to the bench, and I point out kids. I said, yo, is he getting cooked? And one kid's like, yo, you're getting cooked. Then I pointed another kid, is he getting cooked? You definitely getting cooked. So the kids are telling him. So I said, go sit down. Then I put him back in the bucket. We need him. I put him in about a minute, maybe 2 minutes later. Kid goes off, whatever. So motivation is pushing buttons on different levels. As far as professionals, well, that's a different motivation, because the motivation with them, first and foremost, is within, like I said earlier. You know what I mean? All I can do is say what I'm going to say. A lot of that motivation is probably even individual. You know what I mean? It's like I might be talking to Jaylen Brown, early in the week, or some practices on some things. I have a nephew and my son play college football. I might send messages to them that are motivation or encouraging. So when it's on a pro level, the motivation starts with you first. But I'm a good guy where I can just push you where I know I can. So that's going to be the way that I'm going to motivate it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, man, you work hard to be great. It's that simple. You know what I mean? It's not easy to be great. You work hard. You become great, it's because you do. Steph Curry changed the game shooting like that, made everybody think they could shoot like that. But all those shots are not good shots. You know what I mean? Like, he takes good shots. I mean, we see it ourselves. We witness it ourselves. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is, man. Bottom line on that,
Yeah. I was thinking about, I guess, some current events, taking what you just said into consideration, which is Ja Morant, right? Ja Morant is like the hot topic right now. So right. Ja Morant shows up in the strip club, wilding out in the airplane, chugging the, what was that? The tequila bottle. And now he's on an Instagram live with a gun in his hand again. And now he's potentially going to be suspended for who knows how many games. What's your take on that whole situation? What would you, if Ja Morant was your kid, because you probably have kids like almost Ja Morant's age, right?
Right.
So what would you do if your kid had a $200 million contract on the line and did something stupid like that?
Well, first of all, right, every kid is different. I have 3 kids, and they all have their different situations, and I even have one son who he's dealing with some heavy things now too. But the way I look at it, so first of all, you said the key thing. What I'm saying? He had $200 million, sort of like the Millionaire Greens. But but he's got 200 mil, right? So now you're my kid. Now see, here's the difference. Sometimes when they're building the dreams, because I felt like his father, from what I hear, his father trained him and get him to this level, and so now you're living this high life because this little kid that you brought up became what he became. So are you on the level of a peer to him? Or are you, above him as a dad, and is he listening to you? We don't really know the story. We've seen his father on the sidelines, chilling, partying, hanging out with Usher. You know what I mean? Get ready to talk with this one. Talk. So he's living the life of it while your son is doing his foolishness. Now, when you're a man, you're a man. what I'm saying? At some point, brother, I could lead you to water, but you have to be the one to drink. So therefore, I could teach you everything that I know, to maybe save you from some things and save you from yourself and those around you. People are redundant in saying the same things about, oh, he's stupid or he should have been doing this and what about that and these people around him, whatever. Well, we know about shit like that, and I'm sure he does. But sometimes there's a level of invincibility with these guys too. Like, oh, there ain't nobody gonna do that. The dude probably realized what he did when he went live with that shit like that. I heard this a couple seconds later, but that's too late. You see what I'm saying? So, to mess things up, because I don't think he was hating on him. That's probably really his friend. He just does some stupid shit like that you did. So when you become a man, like right now, I'm sure you have a relationship with your father, as your brothers do too. But it's not like he's going to tell you guys what you got to do. You know what I mean? Like he could say what he's going to do, but I mean, you guys are going to, like how you guys are living all over the world. You're doing whatever you're doing, right? You see what I'm saying? When you listen to Mr. Green, like probably, yeah, you listen to some things, but actually what you're going to actually do is you. And he's hoping, along with your mom, that because he has both parents as well, that they did the best they could to write what they thought was right, like raising you. You see what I'm saying? So now you're making these moves, you know what I mean? Being a fool, because being a fool is being a fool, bro. You know what I mean? It's like it can't do with money. Money could have something to do with it. And sometimes, that doesn't have nothing to do with it. You might have a problem. Aaron Hernandez, they got $40 million, but they didn't know he was cuckoo. You see what I'm saying? So they had just gave him 40 mil. You know what I mean? Like he tried to play it off. He went and smashed the cameras and told his woman to throw the box out with the guns and shit in it, whatever. And he sat on the couch while the police were searching his house. You know what I mean? So that's like, I don't think we're dealing with a dude like that with this kid. This kid just seems extra silly. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't even matter, bro, if he wasn't a superstar. If he was a superstar, if he wasn't a superstar, they wouldn't give a fuck, man. They'll put him in exile somewhere and we'll forget about it. But this dude is phenomenal. You see what I'm saying? Athletically, as a player, like, and I mean, he's just that good. So now you want to be that good. And sometimes it's because it's so easy to these guys that obtain this stuff physically. Like he falls out of the bed and probably score 22 points, right? With guys that are working their ass off and say, I would never do that. Yeah, but you'll never be there. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's easy to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just as you can get it, you can lose it all. So he'll learn that. I really think the kid will get it together. I can't really speak of it right now. Right now, he's definitely in the stupid as hell category. But time will tell. So
Yeah. I just think like he's gonna get a lot of chances because he's so good and because he has such potential to be like the face of the league that they're gonna give him multiple chances. Like he's almost gonna have to do something like truly criminal to really get something against him. But what do you think it is about? And I wonder actually if you have any experience of like athletes that want to be gangsters so hard. Like, do you think that's part of it? Is it that athletes want to be gangsters? Is it that gangsters want to be athletes?
I think that because some gangsters were athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe his name was Duncan Hines. I believe basketball legend out of New York, and he was gangster for real, but he could play basketball. Like he was a hustler, drug dealing, whatever. But he could play basketball. So that way, it's more. I think more so that those athletes like that want to appear gangster. They don't want to necessarily be gangster. Nah, these motherfuckers ain't trying to roll around shooting somebody and selling drugs, do whatever for the most part. So they want to appear like when Allen Iverson in that era of the NBA, when cats wearing wave caps and dressing like rappers, so to speak, with big chains and like which made the NBA try to change the dress code because of that era. But you had guys that like, we could dress like my man that's in this group, that's rappers or whatever of the day. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool. We trying to look like that. You see what I'm saying? Rappers wanted basketball players and bowlers wanted to look like rappers. You see what I'm saying? There was a period too, like later on, where athletes started dressing like Pee Wee Herman. What I mean is them little ass suits and little pants and shit like over the ankles. So I'm saying people, they're always influenced by these styles, right? But they wanted to appear to be gangster. They didn't want. I mean, Aaron Hernandez, as we find out later, like he mentally has something going on.
Yeah, CTE.
Some people want to say he got the Clarence Thomas Earl, CTE, but he could have, like, and that's very well true. But everyone does it. But like he was obviously going sick a little bit because there was a lot of shit was happening, and this dude was playing football, knowing like some of this shit like happened, like the shit. So he's already separates. He was separating that shit like in his own head. You know what I mean? Wow. Going out to play while he know the stupid shit was going on. So even when they came to arrest him, he went to the stadium to try to get in.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's crazy, bro.
That was an incredible Netflix series too. That whole story was just insane. Let's see, what else can I ask you about? Well, here's something I'm curious about, because you've been in some movies with some really, really big stars. Are you like and some of these movies you've been in, by the way, are like they have like multiple stars. Like I don't know what it is about the movies that you happen to be in. But these aren't movies that have like one star character and one actor you've heard of. These are movies that have like 10 of them. So do you have any interesting stories about that? And I'm also mostly curious about Larry David. Did you ever like eat a sandwich with Larry David?
Well, this is how it works with that. So the first movie I ever got was The Town. And I had a song I called My Boston, which was filmed by Peter Dungeon. Man, shout out to Pete, wherever you are, Pete. And when he was filming it, he told me like, yo, he worked for Carol Pickman, CP Caston. And he was like, yo, they need people to play these parts in this movie, The Town. So every rapper that was from New England and actors, there was tons of dudes down and like reading for these parts. So Slain had got a part in it, a pretty good part, rapper from Mass, Southie. And then me, I was the other one, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, yo, this is real, you know? So I do that movie. I'm with Ben, shout out to Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. You know, these are people that I talk to like more, like, you know, funny story too with Ben. I played the drug dealer, Kenny with the white nose. And it's funny, I thought I'm selling drugs, so that's why I was Kenny with the white nose. But what it really was Kenny had vitiligo. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh shit. So it came together. I guess he was a real character in real life. And so when I come to the door with the drugs, they give me this little lock box that has the drugs in it. And this package is like this fucking big, huge in here. I said, listen, nobody's coming to someone's door getting these size packages, like not from the door like that. So we got to make it smaller, which they did. So a lot of movies I was in, you were able to talk to cats and it was nothing. Like they treated me like him. Like if you had a speaking role like that, it was like you were A-list dude the way you were treated. So and then I had conversation with him, some sports conversation, baseball, and different things, off air. You know what I mean? Off camera, we just talking, man. Jeremy Renner was the person telling me, shout out to him, that I could do this for a living, and he could see how natural I was. And these parts weren't even huge, but not only were they memorable to the directors and the guys, people that were in the movie that I came across, because I still was SHUG the same way, joking and doing whatever, and you know, and they always remember that. Like even fans and people that watch of the movie would see me amongst the street, a small part like that. Hey, you're in the movie The Town, and blah blah, or you know, you're in this movie. So meeting him, that was cool. That was the first one. Which when I was in The Heat with Sandra Bullock, that was dope because this is Sandra Bullock. I'm like, yo, I was just watching a movie when I was locked, one of them speed movies or something, right? And I'm like, yo, now I'm sitting in this room, like with Sandra Bullock, and you know, and a couple other actors, you know what I mean? And we're talking, chilling, you know, like it's nothing. Because I never treated anyone different. I was like, from music guys I met, like race, like Stevie Wonder and others, so many, man, Prince and what have you. Like I still treated people the same way. Like, you know, like I was never, oh, I'm glad. Nah, I felt like I was supposed to be where I'm at, so, you know, we could kick it. So with her, she had a son named Louis. I guess he was from Africa. I forget what part, whatever, but he was with me for a while, backstage, back behind the scenes. I'm carrying this kid, walking around and shit. He's holding his hand, you know what I mean? Because he kind of related to me, because little black kid and me, we kicking it, man. His haircut was wild, so I had to school on how to cut his hair a little, but it was crazy because I'm over on the side over there eating and shit with him, and she's over there. The trust factor, everything was cool, so, and she was cool. And then when I saw her at the premiere, still like, hey, SHUG, whatever. So it was memorable, and as we move on, it was always like that. Black Mass, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is I tell him, like, man, I like your work, man. I like the shit 21 Jump Street you were saying. He looks at me then because everybody always assumed I was younger. Still, he said, man, how old are you? And then I'm like, same age as him. So he's like, because when I said that, he just turned like, somebody knew that shit. You know what I mean? So, the funny thing about him, real quick, I said before though.
Well, you guys got to pay. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I got you. We're doing a scene and can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. I got you, man. They try to mess me up, man, but I'm gonna return. Hold on, give me a second, man. So we're doing a scene. It's a fight scene in the movie Black Mass, and I'm under the bridge fighting them. And now this is how they would let me change these movies. So they say that Whitey Bulger is gonna come up to you and punch you, and you're gonna fall. He's gonna beat the shit out of you. I'm like, first of all, this little ass dude is never gonna be convincing beating up a big giant dude like me. And he's with his two henchmen, so they would be doing the beating up, or if he hit him, maybe they would have shot him, so or jumped in. I don't know. So they says, what do you think, we need something? I said, yeah, I think so. So then they come back with a pipe wrench. It's plastic, but it's a big. He said, how about that? I said, well, that looks more, So then now you'll see in the movie, he comes up and bangs me with that. You know what I mean? But now I fall to the ground, and he comes up, and while he's fighting, he's like, motherfucker, fuck you, blah, 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 and pushes my head, and my head bangs off the concrete. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, so now I'm seeing stars and shit, I'm like, on the light level, I got a hard rock. And but I'm like, yo, as soon as they do that, rap with the little clap shit, whatever, yo, I'm about to step the money. You know what I mean? So, but what was so genuine about him? He ran over there right after they said cut, and he asked me if you all right or whatever, and I got some money for a little stunt insurance thing or whatever. It's like, so shit was fine. It was fine anyway. But fast forward, I've got a few movies on deck, but to Larry David, now his was good. So I'm in the room. We're gonna read for this part, me and a few other guys. So Carol, God bless her, comes out to the room, Pickman, and says, "Hey, listen, just go in there and say what you're gonna say, do whatever, because he's improv. So you got to bounce off what he's saying. You see what I'm saying? So she said, don't try to be funny and whatever. So the shit's all corn to me because I know personality wise, like I do this shit in my sleep. You know what I mean? Even humorously. You know what I mean? So, hold on, I'm trying to get rid of that.
Well,
I'm there. So,
all right, there you
go. I go in. I'm the first one. I come in there. Is Larry David. First of all, I didn't really know who he was. People were telling me like they were more excited that I was in this movie than myself because they knew him. I didn't know of him. I mean, I just Larry David, So I got to know and all that after, of course. So he says what he's going to say. Then I say some shit off it, and he starts cracking up. He turns red, and he was like, "Yo," he says, "Send everybody home. It's all set. This is it." You know what I mean? And then the guys, there's like 4 more guys behind me, so they got to go home. They don't get to read. So I got that off rip. So a lot of these movies you'll read, and then down the line, they'll stop filming. Maybe 2 months, 3 months or less. And then I hadn't seen this guy since that day. As soon as I seen him, he's like, hey, Big SHUG, because I got on the set. Did you ever watch the movie Clear History?
Yeah, I did. It was years ago though, but I did see it.
You know the little cars, they called them the I forget what they were called, the little cars that John Hamm had created and got rich off of, and some shit like that's part of the storyline. Yeah. And maybe they're the Coopers or something, I don't know. So I saw him and he's walking by the cars, and that part said, he said, "Hey, Big Shug, just do what you did the day that, you know, that whatever you did for audition, just do it." It was great. So obviously it wasn't the exact same thing, but I was amazed that this dude never met me in his life. And he's like, "Yo, Big Shug," as soon as he seen me. And then he said that. I was like, okay. And then we filmed and did our thing, and I had another part. I didn't know. I thought I was just doing that one part. Then I had, the other part. And shout out to the group Chicago, because that's a great legendary band, and I was hanging out with them and eating and talking and chopping it up, man, on some music stuff too. So that was dope. But yeah, man, one more thing. I did the Black Mass movie, and I have that part. And I come in during the premiere that they had at the aquarium. Now, this is crazy because the New England Aquarium is where they had it. And people were smoking weed, drinking and shit, right? And it's right on the water if anybody knows about the aquarium. This is after hours, obviously. And there's penguins and shit, like on the shit is wild because there's penguins and shit standing on the little establishment, the little and habitat and whatever. I'm like, yo, this shit is wild. Motherfuckers out here blazing. It's penguins and shit. Right? So it just was wild, but it was dope. But as soon as I walk in and they're about to show the movie, and the dude stops, he's like, "Oh, Big Shug is here. Terrific part." Like he stopped. This is everybody in there, like this huge, like, and I'm like, wow. So it was always memorable what I did, and that part of it with these movies has been great. You know what I mean? So, and hopefully they keep coming,
So when are we going to see Big Shug do like something a little different? When are we going to see like the Big Shug, I don't know, romantic comedy or the Big Shug?
I mean, I look at it like this: that right shit come across the table is going to go down. You know what I mean? So it definitely, there's many things I could do. You know what I mean? And as far as acting as well. So I'm in it. I'm in SAG. I'm in. I get these auditions and shit pretty regular now. I don't do that extra work. I just do principals. So when shit comes through, I read for a couple of movies recently. So you never know how it's going to go down. I know that we're also trying to put the movie of Gangstarr in play, cool. And documentary and some stuff like that. So, and whereas by the grace of God, I'm able to still play older Shug, in a movie, you know what I'm saying? So that part's dope, you know what I mean? And, hopefully we put that together soon enough. I mean, I know we're in the works, so see how it goes,
Cool. Yeah, this one, Tony in the chat wants to know more Larry David stories, but I imagine though that like when you're with these huge stars, like how much I'm sure like there's a little bit of hanging out, but also it's like a business, like they're like getting in and getting out, right?
Well, here's the difference. With Larry David, so him directing the movie a lot, so he's moving around and what have you, you know what I mean? So so there was only this brief moment with him. Sandra Bullock was a lot of time because we're having lunch and everybody's on break and she's with everybody, and then it's not like they got a trailer or whatever way up the street somewhere. That shit is next to yours. You know what I mean? Like, so right next to you might be her, or Eva Mendes was next to me. Her trailer was next to me in Clear History. You know what I mean? So John Hamm was probably on the other side, whatever. So you're in the circle with these people. So yeah, you run into them, like nobody acted like they would be above you or whatever. They were all chill, man. That's even cool. When Post Malone came in for to do the movie we did with Mark Wahlberg.
He seems like a really nice guy there. Every time I see a video of Post Malone, he's always being super kind and like signing people's sneakers and.
Yeah, he was shit. He came. I mean, he was walking around with dude was holding the umbrella for him though while it was raining. So that part is like whatever. But now, as far as kicking it though, he was cool. So everybody's always been peace with me, and you do hang out with. Well, Larry David didn't hang out with as much. Everyone else I did though, like so you could, but he was on the move. You know what I'm saying? And I believe his daughter was also getting ready to go to Emerson at the time. So you would pick up these different things through conversation. But he probably might have been the busier one out of all these guys putting the movies together. I like Ben Affleck, and my scenes never drag. I don't know. I'm probably pretty good with that or whatever. I don't know. So most of the time it's been 1 or 2 takes. You know what I mean? And fortunately that's worked that way. So then you got mad time because you're still getting paid that long bread, you know, even for the time. So it's like you can hang around eating shit. You know what I mean? Watch shit, whatever. You know, I'd be done early a lot of times, man. So.
Are those spreads pretty fancy when you're with these like big time Hollywood stars? You're eating like crazy food.
So I did one movie, man, and that might have been the first one. Was that? He was either, yeah, I think so. So they got all these food trucks in there, man. They got everything: rotisserie chicken, prime rib, fish, all this stuff, and big salads, spreads, whatever, and then any type of food, top meat. This is all meat area right here. Then there's salad area, there's vegetables, then there's potatoes, whatever. Then afterwards, I see everybody taking white containers, to-go containers. I'm talking about even actors and actresses and top level, like they're taking
I believe it.
Containers, man. I said, yo, what's up with that? I'm talking about it looked like it was everybody going back and forth like for free shit. This was at the end. And they said, oh, you gotta take this good food back. You won't find good food like this or whatever. And I'm like, wow. So then I put a few in the back seat of my whip because my car's right there on the set too. So I'm like, yo, it was just wild to see people of that level at that level. Like just everybody's human, you know what I mean? But like they got things of brine rib, this because they throw that shit away. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Yeah,
you don't want to see that go to waste.
And plus, when you do these movies too, you get usually have an assistant. You know what I mean? So it's crazy because as soon as you walk on the set, like someone's doing everything for me. Like, you know, so that's dope. You know.
So they like chew the food for you, and then they give it.
They ain't
spit it in your mouth.
Good, but they'll go to get whatever you need. Anything.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So that part is cool, man. You know.
Yeah, I hear you. That's great. You've had a lot of interesting experiences there, I must say. And I imagine like that's what I mean. I guess maybe you did predict that could happen because I didn't realize that you had that upbringing when you were young, when you were already like so exposed to being in front of big crowds and things like that. So maybe it was all in the cars all along.
Well, you have like some things as far as singing, like, you know, we sang in the church first, and my father was a singer, and my father also went to Berkeley School of Music. So he could write music and stuff too. And he didn't do that with us as children, but that's part of your background. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and it was just entertain. He used to entertain live on radios when you had to go do it live and sing with the band or whatever and do these record hops and shit back then. So, you know, it just was an evolution, man. Even when I first started rapping with Guru, my father was like, you know, he said, that's just some trash, some kid shit or whatever. And me and Guru were a little older than the teenagers, you know what I mean? That's why right now you'll find me older than some old school cats that is considered like Rakim, Karis One, and Melly Mel, like me being older than all them dudes, but they're considered old school dudes, like, you know what I mean? And you know, there's some that are older, like with hands down, fucking Ice-T and Chuck D and a few others, right? But not me, you know. So, you know, but we here, man. We you know, I'm here. The legacy continues with Gangstarr and Big SHUG and the fam, and I keep on pushing. As long as I live, I can still keep giving. So that's what I'm doing, bro. You know.
That's great. Well, I think we could close out with some thoughts. Where you can give your hot takes on like the finals or your predictions, but also you could give your prediction. I wonder if you have a hot take on Victor Wembanyama. He just obviously he's going to the Spurs. What do you think? Is Wembanyama going to be as big as they think, or you think this dude is just like a big skinny giraffe?
Well, for instance, he could be a big skinny giraffe, but any person that we've seen, because there's been a new wave of these guys that are that tall that can do many things. Porzingis was part of it. 7'3", he's handling the ball a little bit. Bol, the son of Manute Bol, crossing up, bringing the ball up, shoot threes, whatever, but he keeps getting hurt. You know, years before all these guys, Ralph Sampson out of Virginia, 7'5", you know, he was very athletic, and they called him Ralph 10-10 Sampson because he kept breaking up. So the thing is, we have to see these bodies survive first. You know what I mean? Because you got some big, strong dudes like banging you around in the post or all that in the NBA. You know what I mean? So it's not, you can be tall. Like they got these guys, the Boulard brothers, Sim Boulard, and another one. They 7'3", slow-footed, big, huge dudes, but they can't make it in the league because they can't move like that. You see what I'm saying? So now you get these slim dudes who can move, but can they take the physical pounding? So we'll see, man. I seen a picture of him next to Popovich. That shit look crazy. Look like a giraffe, both of them. Like the back part, and the dude looked like the front part. So
you think if you had to make the call though, you think in like 10 years we look back and he's like a great, he's on all-star teams, he's killing it, what if you had to bet? What do you think?
If I had to bet, because of the knowledge that I have, bro, I gotta first go. If I think that he will be all of that, if physically he doesn't break down, you see what I'm saying? I think he can be all of that. If he can physically stay right and get more muscular and grow like that, then yeah, he would be. If he can't reach his potential because he's physically breaking down, then nah. But I mean, I think he could be if it goes like it should. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I haven't seen one of those giant dudes do it yet.
Exactly.
Back in the day, Utah had Mark Eaton, 7'4", but he was just a swatter. And then Sean Bradley played for Dallas, 7'5". He was pretty much a stiff, but shout out to him. He was injured in a
biking accident.
Yeah, car accident on a bike, and he's paralyzed. So
yeah,
but he's living, and he wants everybody to always know that he's well. So go from there. But yeah, I've never seen a superstar at that size yet. Well, we'll see. You know what I mean? And like Bol was supposed to do that too. And so we'll see, man.
All right, and then we'll close out. What's your finals prediction? Who's coming out of the? I mean, I think I know who you think's coming out of the East. Who's coming out of the West, and who's going to take it?
The West is pretty hard. The West is pretty hard because, I mean, Denver was slapping the hell out of them the other night, right? And then they came back and made it a game in the end. If their will could overtake it, they could be there. But I just feel that the Joker, Jokovic, and Murray and a couple of them guys, they just seem to be like really on this click right now. Their cylinders are clicking. You know what I mean? So I think that they could come out of that side, and I think Boston could come out of this side.
Yeah.
If it happens to be those two, of course I'm gonna still pick Boston, but not even because I'm a homer. I just believe in them as a team. But that's a tough matchup for anybody with that Joker in the middle.
Yeah.
If it's the other way, which those aren't the hot takes, but if it's the Lakers and Miami, then I would look to if Anthony Davis is staying well, I would look to the Lakers. You know what I mean? So but right now I think it'll be Boston and Utah, man. So and
Denver.
We'll see.
Yeah, all right. So that was my pick too, Boston and Denver. So let's see how it turns out.
Yeah,
but anyway, I think we're at like an hour and a half. So I'm gonna let you hang out now. I'm gonna let you chill. You can turn it off the screen.
Right.
And but it was great chatting. It was fun hearing all these stories.
Right.
I hope the chat enjoys it, and when they watch this on replay as well, I hope they enjoy it. Do you want to shout out anything? I'll put on your Twitter handle right there, and also your podcast, Danger Zone Podcast. Do you want to shout out anything else?
Yeah, well, also like I'm on Facebook, Big SHUG, or Kerry Guy, which is my name, CARYGUY, because you find shit on there too. I'm working on the album with DJ Premier, so stay tuned. We got that coming. Also, I have another project with Mr. DL, my co-partner on the podcast. Shout out to him. And Chef Tanya Nicole was on the podcast as well. And just continuing to bring good music and build the vibe, and continue the legacy of our crew and our family and as musicians and musical people. Shout out to my brother DJ Premier. We'll also be performing at the Buy Back the Block Initiative, Retrospect, Guru Tribute, and Nubian Square, 6/10/23. from 1 to 6, Nubian Square. That's Roxbury, Massachusetts, and Boston. So be there if anyone's in that area, man. Just come through. It's gonna be great performances by myself, DJ Premier, Edo G, and the Planet Patrol. You know, it'll be a dope time, some daytime. People don't like to want to be around at night, whatever. This is your shit. Come through and see it, man. And my brother Guru, man, and you know they got a mural or something that they presented to him. And shout out to Black Nubian Market on Instagram. You know, check them out too. And I appreciate you, brother. You know, to have me here. It was great to see you too. You know, and you know, we'll let it be now. You know, Mr. T.
All right. Well, thanks, Big Shug. I appreciate you making the time. And until the next one.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. Peace.
Peace.
Static Selector.